Hi guys, welcome to the Untitled Wrestling Podcast.
No, never like that.
I'm Jay, joined by a very upset branch under my learning tree, Big Tasty. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Well, before we start this, I just want to say, Jay, me and you were at a friend's wedding last night.
Yeah, we were.
We drank a lot of Guinness and did a lot of dancing at a silent disco. So I'm ruined today.
I'm pretty sure I've sprained my ankle.
You know those days where you're not like hungover, but like you just can't find contentment in anything you do.
Yeah, that would sum up today pretty well.
Like I've literally just like alternated between like sitting on a PC, playing games, going to bed to watch YouTube videos, and then like watching wrestling on the couch. And like I've not been able to do any of those things for more than like 90 minutes. So,
Yeah,
so I've just been like constant rotation.
I had to take consistent breaks throughout watching All In back just to kind of like keep myself motivated to watching it. Not because it was a bad show, as we're going to get into, because that is what we're doing here, reviewing the All In.
It is.
But,
We haven't even said what it is. It's the All In review. Yeah.
Well, people will be able to see on the title of the video / podcast.
So obviously we went down last weekend,
Sure
and last night was the second Friday night in a row that we were drinking pints of Guinness past midnight.
It sure was.
It's becoming a worrying trend on a Friday now.
I mean, is that what we're doing next Friday?
I guess I'll just like drink them
Probably.
in the park outside yours, or in a Tesco car park by yours.
Are we going to become like those old men who just go to the pub and order 2 pints of Guinness at a time because they want to go to sell?
We're Guinness people now, Jay. That's it. We have to accept it.
Yeah, there's no turning back. But I do wish I could turn back to last weekend where we were at All In, because that was great.
It was a lovely weekend. Before we go into the actual show, should we just talk very, very briefly about Red Pro, because we went there as well?
Yeah, so we'll cover it in more in depth on the monthly podcast, which we'll probably be doing next week at time recording. And release of this, because this is probably going to come straight out after we've recorded. But yeah, we did go to the Red Pro 12th anniversary show. Do you have the cards / results in front of you?
No, I don't want to go through the whole card. I just want to say the show was banging. In particular, I mean, I could talk about every match because they were all bangers, but in particular, the 10 women no DQ match was sick.
Yeah, it was basically anarchy in the arena.
Yeah, Giselle Shaw turned up, was like she was the special like 10th member.
Also, Fightful Select said about that. Will Ospreay produced that match.
Yeah, well, he was like on.
That's why he was there. Like,
he was sat out watching it. Yeah, which was great
because he actually like
obviously. And also his missus had the big like final spot with the thumbtacks, which was great. Mina Shirakawa versus Dani Luna was great for the women's title. Mina won, which was a huge shock. Mina, I don't know if you've seen it. Mina came out with the Red Pro belt on Rampage.
Oh, on All In, they actually announced as well. Like when on a like name card, it said new undisputed Red Pro British Women's Champion.
Yeah, it said it on the bottom third today as well on Rampage last night, which was great.
I've got a feeling they're going to be doing a lot more with Rev Pro leading into Forbidden Door next year.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a second. And then obviously the two big matches. Oh, the tag match was great as well. Sunshine Machine beat GYV in like a very emotional match where it looked like TK was going to turn on Chuck, and then
my favorite part.
Chuck had a bad weekend, which we'll talk about later as well.
You know what my favorite part of that match was, other than the Sunshine Machine winning? When Sarah turned around and laughed at me because they teased that Sunshine Machine had split up, and then moments later, Sunshine Machine won the belts.
And then obviously, match of the night for me was probably Zack Sabre Jr. HSR.
Yeah, same. That was incredible. That's possibly one of the best matches I've ever been in the crowd for.
For just sheer in-ring like prowess, it was unreal. And then also it was a very good in-ring match, but for the sheer sort of story we're told, Luke Jacobs versus Michael Oku was fantastic as well.
Yeah, Luke Jacobs is going to be massive, isn't he? He
feels you've fucking seen him.
No, I mean like as in like he's going to be a star. Like he feels like he's on the cusp of probably becoming like the next sort of big name to go over to Japan.
Yeah, so get that man in the Best of the Super Juniors like right now.
Get him in the G1, mate. Fuck the Super
or in the
Juniors.
G1,
Man's
whatever.
a heavyweight.
But yeah, he came out dressed like a cowboy to Dead or Alive by Bon
He,
Jovi.
he came out dressed as Stan Hansen,
Yeah.
which is cool as fuck. And then he proceeded to do all of the lariats ever, which was
Well,
also cool.
he did a burning hammer in that match, and it wasn't the finish. Just to give you an idea of how hard it went.
Yeah, I can't remember. I was
I'm talking
explaining.
like a proper like Misawa burning hammer as well, not one of these pussy ones they do in like WWE.
Oh yeah, like Oku got like dunked on his fucking head, like
Twice because he hit that and he hit the
twice.
fire from the driver afterwards, like 30
Mhm.
seconds later.
He did a lot of crime. It was fucking beautiful. Um, Jack and Gabe Kidd was a banger as well.
It was, yeah. I mean, that was just two lads just whipping each
It was
other
just a
like
hot
from the
fight.
off. Yeah, they just wearing
Yeah,
at it. But yeah, all the like I say, we'll talk about it more. Whoever's on the monthly pod. It was a great show. If you've got I mean, it sucks a bit that Rev are on their own like sort of standalone streaming service. It's not on like Triller or anything like that. But if you've got access to it and you fancy giving it a watch, I'd say it's probably well worth the money.
it was a very good show.
Yeah, there wasn't a bad match on the card. It was kind of frustrating because I was like, there was a point where I just had to go for a piss and I just couldn't pick when to go.
Yeah,
And
I
the toilet situation was fucked in the copper box as well. It was
yeah. My only criticism of the show was the Copper Box is not a good venue.
yeah.
It's good if you like, because last year obviously we were ringside for it, so that was okay because there was like a bit more space and seating wise.
Mm.
But the way it's tiered, like the way we were sat, like you had like next to no leg room, and also the rows are very long. So if you do need to go out, you've literally, if you're not sat on the end, you've got to like walk past a lot of annoyed people who are having to stand up.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's and as you say, the facilities were not great. Show itself was brilliant. I'd say it was probably just as good as All In actually.
I mean, they're very different shows. Like you can't
Mm,
really. I don't think it's possible to
yeah,
compare them. Like there was about four
yeah,
and a half thousand at Repro, which was a great, great crowd. The crowd was really fun, really loud.
yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
They were
They
feral
loved.
for Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. said he's going to bring
New Japan title,
my title back with him because he couldn't bring the G1 trophy because it wouldn't fit in his suitcase. But yeah, fantastic. Do you want to
what a
move on
guy.
to All In?
So one thing one thing I would say is first before we do go into any of the matches, there was an interesting little backstage interview with a certain Mr. Nigel McGuinness about Brian Danielson's match where he was basically saying that Danielson's going to lose and he's going to be like fighting with his back against the wall like he always does. And it, he, what was it? The line he said? He said, "I hope God looks down and sees the end of Brian Danielson's career in that ring." Um,
Yeah,
he was basically like, let's put it this way: they're absolutely doing my Nigel McGuinness versus Brian Danielson before Danielson rides off into the sunset. At this point,
well,
I think they fucking have to.
more about
Well,
that
yeah,
later.
more about that later. But yeah, I absolutely like. I am convinced it's probably at Wrestle Dream. I imagine.
So they announced a few things, didn't they, before the show started? First of all, they announced that Swerve signed a bumper new contract.
Yeah, they did the cool little video package with that as well, where it was like
Yeah,
it was literally like Swerve and Tony, just like like kind of like when in like the NFL when like a star player signs.
yeah, it was.
It,
Yeah,
it,
it was very sports presentation, which I quite liked.
yeah, they made it
And
feel as important as it is.
and they also announced the worst kept secret in British wrestling that Forbidden Door is coming to the UK next year instead of All In.
Yeah, which
No
I'm
venue announced yet, but
no,
August 24th.
which I'm very pleased. I predicted that. It was very when I did predict it on the monthly. I think it was on the monthly podcast that I predicted that last month. Or it
Yeah,
might have been on Discord. Either way, it was very much wishful thinking on my part. Where I said it with the mindset of God, I hope that happens, but I think we might get that because Tony had been alluding that we were getting a pay-per-view still, but just not All In. And obviously, because they'd moved All into the weekend to Texas to the weekend that would normally have been Forbidden Door, it just kind of made sense. And lo and behold, yeah, it did. They
Yeah.
also announced that they're going to make Grand Slam a pay-per-view in February, I believe,
Yes, in Australia.
in Australia. Well,
So that's exciting.
that'd be cool. That
Yeah,
stadium's massive as well.
yeah. So a
It's like,
couple of
like
interesting things going to be. Obviously, we're getting All In back in 2026. I think Tony said apparently the reason that they're not doing it next year is because there was some sort of booking at Wembley Stadium that he couldn't get the stadium or whatever next year.
I'm to be honest, I'm okay with it. Like I've said to you before, one of my biggest criticisms of AEW is that they don't like they always run the same places.
Yeah,
Like obviously running the MGM Grand for Double or Nothing every year, doing All Out in Chicago every year. Um, so it's nice to see them actually moving like to different locations because I think that's the only way they're going to grow as a company.
yeah.
And one of the biggest things, obviously, that AEW struggles with is attendance, and I think it's because they've not oversaturated the market, so to speak, but there's just like kind of a lot of sort of fatigue for them going to the same place over and over
Yeah,
again.
they just go back to the well too many times. And like I know we love doing it and we've done it twice now, but like All In's an expensive weekend. Like by the time you get your tickets, we've got to travel down and get a hotel for a few nights. You do Red Pro the day before, you
Yeah.
know, do it if you're not like a fucking lunatics like us, doing that every year is a bit of a drag on your finances and it's a bit of a big commitment. Whereas
Yeah.
if it was, for example, somewhere up in Manchester where we just go for the night, it'd be so much more accessible.
hmm Yeah. But I wasn't disappointed to see we weren't getting All In next year when it got announced. I was surprised because I thought it was like for sure they were going to just do All In every year in Wembley. But
Mm.
I'm
But
happy
you say
that we're
it's nice to just freshen up and we get a different show. We get a
yeah,
different sort of presentation, which will be
absolutely.
really cool. Where do you
Yeah.
think it'll be? Think it'll be the Dome?
I think it's probably going to be the O2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where else it could. I mean, there's always Wembley Arena, I guess.
There's
It's whatever.
if Tony loves Wembley that much, there's always Wembley Arena.
I think it just depends on what holds more because obviously they know they're gonna fill it because
Mm.
they've literally like sold 80,000 or 81,000 tickets the previous year. Was it 55 the final number? 53?
According to Wikipedia, it was 53,385.
Okay, well, so that's not into it's not into sort of turn your nose up at, is it? So I think they're gonna
Company's dime it.
companies in the mud. Uh, I think they are probably going to go for a bigger arena. Um, I just don't know which. But I think O2 is probably the more likely.
Mm.
Um,
I know I actually quite like it there. It's I don't mind it at all. The O2.
I've only been to see Pearl Jam. It's
It's
all
easy
right.
to get. It's easier to get to the Wembley from
Pearl
central
Jam was
London,
good.
put it that way.
That's true. That's true.
Right, should we
Um,
move on to the pre-show then? Just blow through the pre-show
yeah,
real quick.
yeah.
So what we're going to do, a little bit of fun. We've got Dave Meltzer's star ratings here, so we're going to talk about the match. We're going to
You rate the
glorify
pre-show
Dave Meltzer
matches.
about, yeah, you get the pre-show star ratings, and then we're going to give him our own little star ratings as well. We're going to see if we agree with Daddy Dave or whether we veer off.
Yeah,
So I'm going to try and do this all in one breath. The first match, the 12-man tag, 16-man
we got it.
tag, sorry. So it was Tommy Billington, Kip Sabian, Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, Leo Rush, Action Andretti, and Top Flight versus Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Anthony Ogogo, Arya Davari, Private Party, and the Dark Order
Yeah, with Uno and Sanjay Dutt at
with
ringside as
Uno
well.
and Sonjay Dutt at ringside. Yeah. Get that's just to get everyone on the card match, isn't it? It's like
Yeah, it. To be honest, though, it was like quite a good match to start, like sort of warm up the crowd because you've got like a lot of exciting guys in there, and
yeah.
Kip Sabian got a monster pop, which made me so fucking happy.
Did you see his little face? It was lovely.
Yeah, it's when he comes out as well. Like, so I watched it back this afternoon, and like he comes out and just the sheer look of surprise on his face, like
He
that's
sort of like
me.
takes a step back, doesn't he? He's like, oof,
Yeah,
he's a bit taken aback, which is nice. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you much about this match because it was just bodies everywhere.
Mhm.
It was fun. Satnam Singh got to do his like spot where everyone like sort of gangs up on him and he just like
Yeah,
throws them all over the place. Yeah, Tommy Billington looked good. Nice to see Rocky Romero. You know, he's nice. Carl Fletcher, nice to see him. Even I mean, one day he'll escape the pre-show and be on the main card.
yeah. Um,
At least we kicked to oblivion. So that's pretty.
yeah. Also, there was a nice little bit where Evil Uno had papers, and he hit Action Andretti with the papers, which was cool.
And then
Nice
Sanjay
little
did
bit.
as well.
And Sanjay did, and then Andretti like gave him a little nudge with his foot, and Sanjay went down like he'd been shot, which is amazing.
Yeah, but the team of Tommy, Kip, Rocky, Kyle, Leo, Action Andretti, and Top Flight got the win. I think it was Dante got the pin, did he?
Yeah, Dante hit a frog splash on Arya
Yeah,
after moments before Arya had done an absolute war crime of a lariat on Action Andretti.
yeah. So everybody wins, really.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was
History's
fun.
greatest monster. Yeah, vanquished again.
So next up, then we had the team of the Stone Pitbull and Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii.
I think. Oh yeah, yeah. Never mind. Never mind. I see what you're doing there. Uh,
Obviously, that was Stokely Hathaway and Statlander
yeah.
versus Willow and Tomohiro Ishii. Because I'm referring to Stokely's fantastic promo he did the week before.
Can we talk about Stokely's entrance because that was fucking incredible.
Yes.
So he came out on like a giant golden like bed that was being carried by a lot of big men, including Corbin from Kings of the North.
Corbin from Kings of the North, looking incredibly angry because he just
He
always
looked,
does.
he looked upset to be carrying a tiny man around.
They said on commentary, was that like a Michael Jackson reference or something?
Yeah. So there's a Michael Jackson video. I can't remember what one it is, but he basically wore what Stokely was wearing.
Yeah.
Obviously Stokely pulled it off better than Michael Jackson, but yeah. That did you see the training montage as well? They did on Rampage with Stokely
Yes,
and
I did.
Chris. That was phenomenal. That was so entertaining. Which basically just built up the tease of that Stokely's got a mean spine buster in his arsenal, which he did hit on Tomohiro Ishii, which is things I never thought I'd say.
It was good fun. I mean, eventually it was just all sort of like it was all like keeping Stokely away from Ishii until eventually he caught him and then fucking murdered him, and that was how they picked up the win.
Yeah. There was a cool spot as well with Ishii, because obviously Ishii's whole thing is he just no sells getting punched.
Yeah.
And like Stokely was doing it, and Ishii was just like looking at him like, what the fuck you doing? And then Chris like went and she was like, Stokely, it's not working. And she hit like this one massive like forearm that rocked there, Ishii. And like that led to Chris then sending Ishii into Stoke, who hit the spine buster on him, which was wild. Yeah. Eventually Ishii hits basement lariat on Stokely, and I think Stokely's been beheaded, maybe.
No, I saw him on Dynamite this week. He's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. But yeah, so I mean, a little bit of. So this was a match to pick the stipulation for the match All Out. Willow won, and on Dynamite she chose a Chicago Street Fight.
She did, which will be very fun.
Which that'll be excellent. Yeah, that's pretty good fun.
Also, weirdly though, isn't for the CMLL title because CMLL do not sanction street fights. So they've actually like they said, I read something about it where they said like, yeah, we don't sanction street fights, so it won't be the belt won't be on the line.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, third match we had the Von Erichs, which was Marshall and Ross, with Sammy Guevara and Katsuyori Shibata and Dustin Rhodes versus the Undisputed Kingdom, which is Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Cage of Agony, which is Bishop Khan, Brian Cage, and Toliona. Now this was fun because you had Sammy and Dustin came out as Deadpool and Wolverine. Brian Cage also came out as Wolverine because that's like his whole thing.
I'm so disappointed they didn't do the Spider-Man meme. It was right there in front of them.
Yeah, but yeah, another fun match. Like again, big dumb fun. A lot of big boys slapping each other, silly. I like the Von Erichs. I think they're really cool. I was saying to you the other week, they've got like a year now to build these guys up if they're going to sign them and have them win a tag belts from Texas next year because the pop would be nuclear.
I believe they are signed.
Oh, nice. Well, the Ring of Honor tag team champions, aren't they? So they should probably have fucking contracts.
You say that Bryan Danielson hasn't got a contract at the moment.
Bryan Danielson lies.
No, he doesn't. He said that his last AEW contract was the last contract he'll ever sign, and then he'll just be a free agent after.
But yeah, this match was fun. Brian Cage just works his dick off, doesn't he? It's Sammy Guevara was fine. And
London
yeah,
fucking hated Sammy Guevara.
oh, that boo he was not ready for that, was he?
Well, we went, to be fair, like his music hit and it was like, bah! I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, everyone loves Dustin though. Just Dustin. Everyone liked Dustin.
Yeah,
Dustin got a big pop, which is nice.
I'm glad Dustin got a match of there all in this year.
Yeah, and it's nice to see like guys like Cage Ragney, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, guys who they're solid hands who do really good jobs. Nice to see them get like a big moment in front of a big crowd, which was really cool.
Yeah,
Obviously I think that was this the match where they won by like everybody just iron clawing everybody at the end.
that was after the match. So they won with Dustin and Sammy's tag team finisher, which is Dustin hitting the final reckoning and then Sammy basically like hitting a swanton like immediately after
Yeah,
on Matt Taven. And then after the match, they all started like all the heels started beating up the faces. Kevin Von Erich coming in Daddy Magic on commentary was hilarious because he was like losing his shit that Kevin Von Erich didn't have any shoes on. Um, and then yeah, Matt Taven gets in Kevin Von Erich's face, and then Kevin Von Erich puts the iron claw on him. And then everyone else puts iron claws on everyone else. The Von Erichs both put multiple iron claws on Toa Leona because he is a
yeah,
big man.
because he
Um,
needed to.
he needed to. Yeah, and it was cool to see Kevin Von Erich because he's just like that's like a stoner uncle, isn't he?
Yeah, like wrestling like legend as well. Like good to see him in London
Yeah,
getting a big pop as well, which is great.
yeah.
Right almost onto the main show, but weirdly they did all of the entrances for the ladder match
Well,
at
actually,
the end of
you've
the pre-show.
forgotten something there.
Oh,
Um,
I was talking about matches, mate, not big returns.
well, let's talk about the big return. Um,
Yes.
because my voice is still struggling because of this big return. So Saraya came out with Harley Cameron, and it says here the entire Knight family, but it obviously was just like an entourage, wasn't it? As well.
Mm.
So like she had Ricky Knight Jr. was there, Sweet Saraya was there, Zach Knight was there, and there was someone else as well.
They had some wrestlers as well. So like Liz Ever was there.
Yeah, Lizzie Evo, Rio, Mercedes Blaze. Funnily enough, women who were in the match we were raving about before. Um,
Yeah.
and also Jack Selstrom, and there was another guy, but I can't remember who it was. But yeah, so Saraya comes out, is complaining that she's not got a match on the card. Everyone hates Saraya because she's awful. Fuck Saraya. Um, and then she says she's the best British wrestler in AEW. So naturally, Jamie Hayes' music hits,
Yeah.
and like I think the pop was one of the loudest pops of the night,
Yeah.
and the arena wasn't even, oh sorry, the stadium wasn't even like half full at this point because everyone was still like getting in
Yeah.
for main card. It was like yeah, hates the music hits. She comes out, she just murders everybody that gets even nearer. Um, it was cool because it was like a music was playing as she was coming down, and then like Lizzie Evo like ran at her, got thrown into like the barricade. Rio got thrown into the steps. Oh no, Rio, no, sorry, Jack Selstrom. She grabbed by his beard and like launched him into the steps. Um, Harley Cameron like went to do something and she just like made a flinch and then pushed her over. She gets in the ring and she's staring down, and then it was weird because like on commentary, Matt Menard was saying, "Get a referee in here, get a referee, let's have a match." And then Excalibur and Tony were doing like damage control. Going, no, 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 this isn't a sanctioned match. And then like Saraya's mum come in, um, Jamie murdered her, which was great, and then turned around and Saraya like ran away before Jamie could like kill her. Jamie brings Harley in the ring, destroys her with a haterade, and everyone goes fucking mental. It was great. It was awesome to see Jamie back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and then weirdly, there was about 10 minutes to go down to the main to the show started, and they brought out, obviously they were concerned about time. They brought out all of the 10-man, all the ladder match tag teams. So it was House of Black, it was Bang Bang Gang, it was Claudio, Yuta, and Pac, who got a massive pop as well.
That
And
that
then it was
the way he did the entrance, where he was like looking because he didn't have a grate, he was just staring at the camera.
yeah, like from like the backstage, it was great. And then obviously the patriarchy with Mother Wayne. Oh my God, this match was silly fun.
This was wild. It was so as as you say, it was just like silly fun. So immediately from the get go, Christian just runs away,
Yeah,
and
just legs it.
and that Nigel on commentary for this was fucking brilliant because he's going, oh, Christian, he's such a star. He's doing a lap of honor before he wins the match. Um, but yeah, that leads to Kill Switch and Nick Wayne just basically getting murdered by everybody, and then everyone just brawling on the outside. Claudio just did so many fucking crimes to Colton Gunn in that first opening bit of the match.
Yeah.
And throughout, I'd like to see Claudio on his own against the Ass Boys. I think that'd be a very fun match. Um, but yeah, there was a bit where everyone basically just kept jumping out on everyone else. Like one person did a dive, and then another person would jump on them, and another person jump on them, and then another person jump on them. And that was just the start of the match. Eventually Christian comes back down to the ring and he tries to climb the ladder and gets intercepted by probably the two men you would least want to stop you in this match, which was Claudio and Brody King.
Yeah.
And then they throw him out the ring and everyone else catches him, puts him down, and then circles him, and then just everyone beats Christian up. Um, Juice Robinson was great in this match. He was like fucking Wile E. Coyote, just like setting up like traps and contraptions. Um, there was a bit where Mother Wayne got involved where well, two bits actually. One was where she tried to climb the ladder and the guns like sort of like chased her off, and then another another was when Yuta was climbing the ladder. Christian got a hairspray, sprayed him with it, and then he gave her it back. He went to do it. She went to do it to Juice, but he had a chair and blocked it. And then he hairsprayed it. And then he went to pile driver her through a table, which would have been wild.
Yeah.
And Kill Switch just chokeslammed him through the table, and it just didn't break.
Because he went like long ways on it, didn't he? He didn't go like through like
Yeah,
the shut. He went like along the like sort of long bit of it, and
yeah,
that was sucked. My favorite spot from like earlier in the match was when there were like two tables up in the ring, and Brody and Claudia were on the ladder, and the
yeah,
guns like jumped on the backs and like put them in sleeper holds, and they were like starting to pass out, and the guns were like cheering. They were like, "Yeah, yeah," and then they just fell backwards through the tables.
yeah. What with that as well? So like the way Colton Gunn and Claudia went through that table, Colton took the whole fucking thing.
Yeah,
Like the when Brody and Austin did it, Brody sort of turned to his side, so he took some of it as well. Like Claudio just fell backwards onto him. It
there
was
was some great,
hilarious. Like,
there was some great tables, wasn't there? So Nick Wayne did a Wayne's World through a table.
onto Brody King.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Christian speared Buddy off the ladder through a table.
yeah. There was that grotty kill switch that Christian did onto Pac onto a chair, and like,
Yeah.
so someone needs to have an intervention with Pac to tell him you don't have to take everything on top of your head.
There was a
Not
little bit of
every move you need to brain yourself.
a little bit of storytelling as well. There was a moment in the match where Killswitch was away up the ladder, ready to go, and he had the belts won, but Christian told him to get down because he wanted to win it.
Yeah,
So that was a little bit of dissension that sort of played into something we saw later in the show. And then eventually it looked like Luchasaurus, it looked like Killswitch was going to turn on Christian, but instead he sort of boosted him up and gave him a little help up to try and win. But he didn't. Who did win, Jay? It was Pac, the bastard.
Pac climbed up the ladder really quick. He just kicked Christian in the face,
Yeah.
and Christian like sort of like felt it was kind of again it was like a sort of like cartoonish thing. It was like Christian was still on Killswitch's shoulders, and they both kind of fell back, like sort of staggered and then fell backwards, and then Pac pulled one belt down, which ended the match, and then left the other two for Claudio and Yuta to
Yeah,
collect.
he made them go up the ladder to get their belts, which was
It,
fantastic.
it's very interesting, the dynamic here, because obviously Pac and Claudio had like that feud last year. Um, and there's on Collision, when they won the match, like Pac was like cackling away to himself and like smiling at Claudio, and Claudio looked really uneasy. So I don't know whether Pac joins BCC or if he's gonna just be like eventually just turn on them.
I mean,
But
what even is BCC at this point? Because Mox has gone rogue and Brian
well,
Danielson's about to retire. So
Mox has got the Blackpool Combat Wolfpack. You mean?
but yeah, so this match, Dave Mills give it 4.5 stars. Do you agree, Jay? Do you think that's too high, too low? Where do you land on this?
I'd say that's about right. It was great. It was a really good opener. It was a really really fun match.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say like 4.5 seems fair. Like you say, it was just good, big, dome fun. Got the crowd going. It got really up the energy straight away in the arena or in the stadium.
yeah,
It really got everyone. Everyone was
and
hype as fuck after this.
we got a big Newcastle win at Wembley, which is good.
The closest you'll ever see.
Probably, yeah. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Next up, then we had Mariah May versus Tony Storm for the Women's Championship.
This
Uh,
was fucking excellent.
this was great. So they had a really nice little video package at the start of this about like Tony Storm's like career, basically. Yeah, it was really well done. Like throughout this whole program, the production's been incredible, hasn't it? Whether it's the black and white stuff on the camera for Tony, whether
Yeah.
it's been the video packages they've done, whether it's been like the little backstage segments where they've woven in all the like obviously they've woven in all the All About Eve references and sort of stuff like that.
There's been a
Um,
lot of like bits as well where like there's been like a little looks exchange between Mariah and Luther where it's like Luther's onto her, but Tony can't
yeah.
see it because she's just like this troubled star.
Well, speaking of Luther, he was back today for the first time since he got murdered by Mariah.
Since Mariah threw him off the stage. Yeah, Luther got a fucking great pop as well. Um, he's just again, it's just a great addition to like the package of Tony Storm, isn't it, Luther? Um,
Yeah.
this match. So obviously I was in the stadium for it, but as I said, I rewatched the show today, and I think that this match was much better watching it like on television because there
Yeah,
was
I
so
mean,
many little things.
this one seems like one we really want to be able to see the facial expressions and see like bits and bobs like that. Whereas we couldn't really focus on that when we were watching it live.
Yeah. So they made a big point that Mariah's mum was at ringside, and it was the second time she's ever seen Mariah wrestle, uh, which is wild. The second time she's seen a daughter wrestle is at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, they made a big deal of that. Nigel was going fucking feral for Mariah on commentary.
well,
Um,
he got a kiss, didn't
he got a kiss, and after the match, he had to go and have a break because he was too emotional after
he?
getting a kiss off Mariah and Mariah winning the belt. Um, yeah, this was fantastic. Tony's entrance was fucking awesome, where they basically like it. They did like a set of doors opening, and it was like when you go into like arenas and stadiums stuff like that. There's like all like the pictures on the walls, isn't there,
Yeah,
of who's played there before. Um, so they basically had it like that, where it was like a black and white picture of Tony Storm next to the original Wembley with the two towers. Um, and it said Tony Storm Wembley 1924, which
yeah.
is fucking great. Um, yeah, it was just excellent. Yeah, so Tony comes out and she got one of the bigger pops of the night, didn't she? It was like
Yeah, crowd.
every
It was hard, wasn't it? Because like Mariah, I think they maybe thought Mariah might be like get big hometown pop, but people just love Tony so much. It was tricky
yeah. Well,
to get
they
him as a boot.
they actually covered that on commentary, saying that Mariah's from London, but because of what she did to Tony and how beloved Tony Storm is, everyone, even her home crowd, her home fans are like booing
Yeah, important.
her.
Obviously, you said Mariah's mum was in the crowd for this. Mariah actually went over and slapped her, because she's just despicable.
She's a monster.
And then Tony healed her with the power of her bosom, which was nice.
She did.
So,
She
you know,
did. Yeah, so the match started with a really cool spot where basically they went nose to nose, and Tony was like saying something to Mariah. You couldn't hear what she was saying, um even on like the TV, but she was saying something to Mariah, and then they just started like hockey fighting, beating each other up. Um, Mariah eventually gets the advantage and chops the living shit out of Tony. Um, and then Tony basically when Tony's on the outside, after Mariah's done like a power bomb on the floor,
Oh, that
Luther
power bomb was
sort of
ridiculous as
it
well.
was yeah, it was awesome. Luther like starts getting in Mariah's face, and then like Mariah spits on him, and Aubrey's like trying to stop him basically from getting involved. Mariah's like just like puts a knee over Tony's head and is just like posing at Luther. She was despicable in this match. It was brilliant. Um,
Yeah.
then shortly after that was the aforementioned spot you're talking about, where she goes over and slaps her mum. This was like a really like chaotic spot because Mariah was like firmly in control. Tony like she hit a Saito suplex on the outside, and then she goes over to Nigel, gives him a kiss. Nigel's like giddy at this point. And then she like shotgun dropkick Luther into the barricade, and then she goes over to her mum and just like, her mum's like, Mariah, why are you doing this? What have you become? And she just slaps her mum. Um, and then that leads to Tony basically hitting a Storm Zero on the steel steps, and then going over to Mariah's mum and healing her with a bosom, as you say, and giving her a hug, which is lovely. And then Mariah's just like hissing blood at this point. Like she's got like a big cut on her forehead, and it's just trickling down her face. Looks awesome, the shot. And basically, this is kind of like the sort of catalyst for Mariah, slowly but surely getting towards the win. Um, so Tony ends up hitting Mariah hits like a load of hip attacks on Tony. Tony ends up hitting one of her own and a Storm Zero. Um, and then Mariah kicks out, and like as she kicks out, she gives Tony the middle finger, and starts just like slapping the piss out of her. There's a bit where they basically Aubrey like breaks up like the slap exchange, but because the way she does it, she goes like through the two women. So she got it back to them. They both low blow each other and then headbutt each other and go down.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Store. Yeah. Get your words out, Jay. Storm hits a Storm Zero and sorry, goes for Storm Zero, and Mariah reverses it into Mayday and gets a near fall. Use the belt, and Luther takes it away from her, and like you just see like his gloved hand like doing that
That was such a
Mariah.
good visual. That shot of Luther's like middle finger was it was beautiful.
Yeah. And then that gives Tony the advantage. Tony eventually goes to hit Mariah with the shoe. Um, and this is like a downfall because she can't do it. Um, so she throws it away. Mariah then rolls her up, and Tony kicks out. And as Tony's kind of kicked out of it, Mariah kind of like just hits the ropes, knee to the back of the head, does another knee at the front, and then hits Tony with the Storm Zero to pick up the win, which was
Yeah.
his touch as well. And yeah, new women's world champion, very deserving, Mariah May.
So this one got I think it's a bit low. This one got 3 3/4 stars from Dave Meltzer. I think this was at least a 4.
I'd say 4.5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
If the
brilliant.
ladder match was a 4.5, then I think this, you give this one if you give the ladder match, I think they were just equally as good.
Yeah, I think this one did like a lot of the time when you get, especially when you've got a story as good as this, you worry for the kind of blow off match. And I think this lived up to the hype. It was very, very good. Um, Made Mariah look like an absolute like megastar, made her feel like a serious threat as a heel. Um, and yeah, got a great job by everyone involved. And another thing as well, obviously, Tony Khan said it in his media call before All In. He basically just like gave RJ City credit for writing the
Yeah,
majority of this storyline.
because in his own words, RJ is the only one who's seen all of these old movies.
Yeah, yeah, because it was basically it was RJ City and Tony Khan who did this whole, you like put this whole story together, and they've done it absolutely masterfully. Kudos to everyone involved.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'd give it a 4.5. Interestingly, have you seen the video of Tony after this match?
No, not yet.
So it was on, they put it on AEW's Twitter shortly after the match. I was basically, someone was trying to ask Tony a question, and Tony literally just like walks out, jumps the barrier, like from like the sort of staff area at Wembley, and just walks out into the night. And I get this, I get the feeling that might be the last time we see Tony for a little while.
Yeah, I think she probably needs to not go away, but just like sort of tweak her gimmick a little bit, like sort of work out where it's going next, sort of bring it back. I think Mariah needs to get a couple of defenses down the line, and when she's got a bit more confident, just bring Tony back to like challenger again, and I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Mina might be Mariah's first defense.
Oh yeah, nice. Speaking of Mina, they showed her in the crowd as well. She was sat next to Rachel Ellering, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, as we said, they shown it that she was the Rev Pro British Women's Champion, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Right, next up, Hook v Jericho. I think we'll probably gloss over this one a little bit because it was not the. I mean, it was fine, but I don't think it deserves. I don't think it merits in-depth analysis. It was just a. It was pretty fun for what it was.
It was as good as it was gonna be, I think.
Yes, this is for the FTW Championship. Jericho comes out, sings his whatever his new song is. I don't know what it is.
Spotlight by Fuzzy.
Yeah. So
Um,
Jericho's now played at Wembley twice with Fuzzy, which
yeah,
something he can say.
Jericho's like politicking so hard on that, isn't he? Like he's like, Tony, I really need to play myself out because I'm Fuzzy. It's like,
Well, no,
yeah.
just a couple of really kind of fun spots in this. It was kind of a bit of a wild one, wasn't it? Like sort of Big Bill and Brian Keith were all over it, getting involved.
Um, Before we do get into it as well, Hook's entrance was really cool. It
Oh
was
yeah, they used like the
he
little
did like
heartbeat thingy from
the
Taz's
heartbeat
old
and then the
entrance.
flat lining from Taz's WWE entrance, yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, and then into Action
Um,
Bronson, which was great.
mhm.
But yeah, fun match. A couple of highlights. Jericho had a bag of cricket balls for some reason and a cricket bat.
Yeah,
He
which
also
said
had a
hi
snook.
guys on it.
He also had a snooker cue. For reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which he didn't use.
no, no. And then
Yeah,
the sort of the big moment of the match was Brian Keith was well, Big Bill got put through. Did he get through a table? The barbed wire
yeah.
table, wasn't it?
So basically for the whole match, it was like the entire learning tree were like beating down Hook and stopping Hook from like getting any kind of like real foothold in the match. Um, so yeah, Big Bill gets put through. After me saying about the snooker, you have just realized Jericho fucking hit Big Bill with by mistake.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Jericho hits Big Bill with it, the snooker cue, and Big Bill crashes through a table which has a barbed wire board on top of it. Um, and then Brian Keith stops Hook from locking in the Red Room, and then he goes again, and he's about to hit Hook with the belt, and Taz is like on commentary, like again, this is another one which was probably better on TV because of Taz on commentary. Because throughout the match, Taz is getting more and more frustrated with it, and like obviously he's like, it's FTW rules. I didn't want the rules of I didn't want like that my match style to be like sort of bastardized the way these guys are doing it. That wasn't the
Mm.
point. It was just that anything goes, not like that you turn it into a handicap match. And he's like going, someone needs to stop this. In the end, he's like, you know what? If they're gonna have a numbers advantage, I'm sick of this shit, and just takes his headset off, and then transmission Brian Keith, which is awesome.
That got a huge pop.
Oh, we lost our shit when we saw Taz stand up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Taz missioned Brian Keith, which is cool. Hook, Red Room's Jericho, and Jericho taps and Hook's the new,
A rare Jericho tap out.
yeah, Hook's the new FTW champion. He had a nice little hug with his dad after the match as well.
Yeah. This one got 3 stars off Dave, which I think is again
I mean,
probably
that's
alright.
it.
It
Go
was
on.
fun. It wasn't as
Yeah.
bad as I was maybe fearing. But I think this is the type of match that Jericho has really sort of found is like sort of rhythm in. I think it's the match he sort of really type of match he sort of really excels in, like sort of slightly wacky, a little bit brawly with a few bits of wrestling here and there. I think it's like kind of his wheelhouse now.
Jericho's definitely going down the sort of like Terry Funk middle-aged and crazy route, isn't he?
I mean, he has great like remember that match he had with Roddy Strong in the arena match.
Oh, the Paul's County match.
Yeah, and they went outside and because Adam Cole was banned from the arena, and then just he went outside, Adam Cole just battered him, and it was great.
That was the best part of that Jericho and Adam Cole feud.
Well, it was much better than the fucking pay-per-view match. Yeah, put it that way. Still got fucking PTSD from that.
How do you have a bad match with Adam Cole?
Well, Exhibit A.
Madness.
Next up, then we had the triple threat tag match. The Young Bucks defending against FTR and the Acclaimed. So the Acclaimed, their rap was a bit hit or miss, I think. I mean, I don't know. Given the like sort of right wing hatred that's been rising up in England over the last few weeks, I don't think comparing FTR to the EDL was possibly the way to go.
No, it was a bit tone deaf, wasn't it? But I mean,
Yeah,
it is Max Caster who said those words. What can you say? Um,
he did ding them over like their masturbatory Bret Hart references, which I thought was pretty fun.
yeah. Um, yeah. This match was as we were kind of like ourselves, like some of the biggest criticizers of this.
I
Um,
think the match itself did pretty
yeah,
well. Like these
yeah.
six guys are never going to give you a bad match, are they? You know, it's always going to
No.
be fun.
But I mean, of the build, I should say.
Yeah,
We've been very critical of that because it wasn't very good. The match itself was great.
I
Um,
think they went a little ways to remedying that with what happened at the end of the match.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think they wanted something. I think this match. I said before, I said it on the previous show. I think this match was definitely supposed to at one time have been the Bucks versus Machine Guns, and then that now it looks like it's not happening, and so they have to sort of scramble and put something together. So it felt very much like let's just do Bucks FTR, and then the Acclaimed are doing this like weird sort of heel turn, where they're sort of trying to still be face, but trying. I don't know if they're going for like a sort of like Chris Jericho style, like not very self aware. You know, doesn't realize he's a bad guy. I feel like the Acclaimed are in a weird place with the way they're trying to position themselves. But the match itself was really good fun. Like you say, it was the Bucks are still fucking great. FTR, yeah, that power and glory. Oof, every time I see that live, I fucking pop for it. I love it.
yeah. Um, yeah. There was a cool bit as well where like Max Caster was just in the ring and Matt Jackson was going for the EVP trigger, but Nick had been taken out, so he basically talked Max into doing it with him, and
Yeah,
then like pretty much straight after, then Max and Cash Wheeler hit the Shatter Machine as well.
yeah, that was cool.
Which cool.
There was a double Sesame Timbers as well, which was quite nice.
There was.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, there was just a lot of cool things going on. Really, they did the triple threat thing really well. There was a near fall which was very um I thought like that was it where Daddy Acid hit a Fame asset onto Matt Jackson onto the belt,
Yeah,
and then the Acclaim then hit the Arrival and the elbow drop, and literally like the last second Nick Jackson broke it up. And yeah, eventually the Bucks hit Dax Harwood with the belt, and then the EVP trigger to pick up the win.
yeah. So we said about this match having like a sort of lackluster build, but despite that, I still had no idea who was going to win when this match was taking place.
No, I thought it made the most sense that the Bucks would win.
Yeah, which did because it was kind
Um,
of like because the whole story is like FTR and the Acclaim sort of don't really like each other now because of this like little feud they're having. So my
yeah,
theory was that the Bucks are going to exploit that and sort of somehow like crawl out with the belts, which they did.
pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
And after the match, Jay, you
um,
what did you say to me in the arena?
I I said it would be cool if GYV came up and like attacked someone here, and then
And
you
then
literally,
I just
as I
pointed at the ring.
turned, yeah, as I turned to say that to you, you just pointed at the ring and went, "They're there." I was like, "Oh,
Which so
um,
my friend Martin, who we went to see this with, he made a really, he just literally 30 seconds before GYV got in the ring, he made a point to me because the Bucks came up dressed as the Beatles, and Martin was like, "Where are the Beatles from?" And I was like, "Liverpool." And who could possibly turn up from Liverpool in this match?
Yeah, I thought that as well, to be honest. Like when I was like putting two and two together, I was like, hang on a minute. Yeah, the Bucks had their pretty cool Sergeant Pepper's gear.
Yeah, but yeah,
GYV.
GYV turned up because young veterans, and they attacked FTR and fucking hooked that to my veins.
Well, yeah, they had a stare down with the Young Bucks, and then they attacked FTR, and then on after like they were leaving the ring, as they were walking up the ramp, basically, Drake was like going into the camera saying Young Bucks on site, FTR on site, the Acclaimed on
Yeah.
site. So I think that's like GYV's next three feuds just sorted out right there.
Yeah, I mean, so as I was saying before, so it felt like this match was like sort of designed to like bring machine guns in, maybe to do like a little bit of a reset on the tag division, which has sort of fallen by the wayside a bit in AEW over the last sort of 6 to 8 months. Obviously, they couldn't do that. GYV, now that's your reset button for the tag team division. If they're just going to rip through the division now and like, have bangers with everyone, then yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, so it looks like we're probably gonna get GYV versus FTR, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Probably all out.
Hopefully all out, yeah. They had their first match, or they had their first win in AW against the Outrunners on Rampage last night as we record this, and that was a very good match.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm looking
It
forward to
was
checking
it
that
was
out.
it was excellent. Yeah, check that. You'll enjoy that. Anyway, Dave, I think this is a bit high. This is Dave's Young Bucks bias. He gave this 4.25. I think maybe four is probably the highest I go for this.
Yeah, I'd say 3.25 for.
Right, I'm going to try and remember because this isn't written down. The Casino Gauntlet match. Now this was just fucking stupid fun in like the best possible way.
Yeah. So interestingly, on commentary, Excalibur kind of explained the rules a little bit better than they have done previously. Which was that um there's 21 men who were in the match.
A potential 21 men.
So yeah, big, and also then that played into a really good bit on being the Dark Order,
Yeah,
where because Evil Uno was like, right, I'm number 13. It's my chance. I'm gonna get Hangman. And then literally like Luchasaurus' music hits. He's like, wait, what? Wait, that was my number. And then he's like, I must have gotten mixed up. I'm next. So yeah, there's 21 people in the match. Again, it's a really cool format of a match, but they haven't really like clarified the rules too great, have they?
yeah.
Um,
So just where it's a casino goal. It starts off with two people in the ring, and people enter it. It's not at set times. It's just every now and then the countdown
yeah,
starts and someone comes out, which I really like. So I
it's
like it,
so
and then I've
elastic.
got
I like
one.
it.
There's one thing I really like about it, which is also a slight criticism I have it, which I'll explain when we get to the ending. Um, so two bars start off, and then people come in, and no one gets eliminated. It's the first guy to score a pin wins the match.
Mhm.
So there's no like eliminations. There's none of this. So anyway, we start out with Orange Cassidy. We knew he was number one because he won the sort of qualifying match to be the number one. Now, unlike most battle royals, being number one is actually the best position to be in because you can win the match before everyone else comes out.
Yeah, and they
So being
did
first,
they did kind of tease that as well.
yeah.
Um,
Well, his opponent was Okada,
yeah, which is
which
great.
was wild. So they had a little chaos reunion, which was nice, and then Okada did the concern face.
Okada was brilliant because he was crying and Orange was confused and he was like, I want to hug my Chaos friend. And he just turns to the hard cam, like still crying, and his face just changes. And he just starts beating up Orange.
Yeah,
Okado's such a bastard in this match. He was fucking
he was.
excellent. He was so fun. Yeah, and then there was a cool spot as well where Okada went for a Rainmaker and Orange put his hand in his pocket, so
Yeah,
he
you can't.
couldn't do it.
As I said to you, you can't maintain wrist control if your hands are in your pockets.
That's very true. Um, and then we got probably the biggest pop of the night.
I'd say so, yeah.
I'd
Maybe the main
say,
event, but yeah, it was up there.
yeah.
Apparently this was a very closely guarded secret. Like apparently people in the match didn't know it was going to happen.
Wow. I mean, to be
Uh,
fair, Akada and Orange both looked really confused.
yeah.
Um,
So we had the return to the ring of Nigel McGuinness.
yeah.
And
he
I
come out
couldn't. I
to they come out to fucking in the bushes by Oasis as well. Didn't
He did, yeah.
It's cool. It was
It's
all right to me.
so not only did Mariah May bring Nigel back to full-time wrestling, Nigel coming out to fucking in the bushes brought Oasis back to playing.
Coincidence? I think not.
But this match was Nigel was phenomenal. He looked in great shape. He hadn't missed a beat. Nigel and Okada in a ring together. What is this? 2011 TNA.
I know, right? More on that later. Um, and they were in the ring with Fire Ants as well. Who knew?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is great. And then we had a couple of guys. We had Roddy Strong came in. We had another. The next big surprise was Zack Sabre Jr.
yeah. So Kyle O'Reilly was in it 4. Zack Sabre Jr. was 5. There was a really cool bit where like Zack basically had just like cleaned house, and then Nigel just taps him on the shoulder, and Zack just turns around like, "Oh fuck."
And then you just do a bit of lovely chain wrestling for a little while, which is really nice.
Yeah. Then Roddy come out, and just give knees to everyone like he was fucking Oprah giving away cars. Um, Mark Briscoe come out immediately after Roddy, like
That
literal,
was a big pop as well.
yeah, literally about 30 seconds after Roddy, Mark Briscoe come out, which was mad. Um, and then number 8 was that fucking cop Hangman Page.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is odd because I
I
thought if he came out, I thought he'd come out right at the end, which was not the case at all.
I thought he would have been second myself.
You reckon?
Yeah. Um, so interestingly, with Hangman coming out was like I was saying to you, I really need to see his entrance video properly because there's so many like when we were watching it live, there's so many little things in that. I'm surprised Faye hasn't already fucking dissected it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hangman comes out and just cleans house. He murders Orange. Uh he didn't he do like a powerbomb in the apron? Was it on Orange or was it on someone else?
On someone he really fucked up someone. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a really, really cool spot he did with Orange where he went for a fall away slam. No, sorry. Orange went for a orange punch after dodging a buckshot, and mid jump, Hangman caught him and hit him with a dead eye, which was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Then the hero of the match come out, Jeff Jarrett, which again, massive pop.
Yeah.
And he just goes straight after Hangman, which is cool. I really hope this turns into a Jarrett Hangman match somewhere, like an actual proper one. And yeah,
So I saw someone tweet about this, and I think I agreed. If you look at it carefully, like Hangman's sell when Jerry hits him with the guitar is like actual perfection.
yeah, it's great. It's
The way
great.
he just like he just sort of, because he's on the apron, he sort of like just goes limp and just like sort of drops and like hits the apron and rolls onto the floor. Oh, it was beautiful. In between all of this, we have a big debut.
Yeah, so this was great because like Hangman was literally like he. So just before this, Hangman powerbombed Jeff Jarrett onto everybody,
Yeah,
like
which
out
is a
of the ring.
terrifying spot for a man in his 50s to take.
Yeah, and then Karen gets on the apron and Hangman's like grabs Karen by the throat, and everyone's like, oh, and that like again on the commentary, Excalibur was just like going, like Hangman says he's a righteous man, but then he's grabbing Karen Jarrett by the throat. What the fuck? Which is a very good point. And then yeah, the new big entrance, Ricochet makes his debut, which
Yep.
his entrance music fucking slaps. So
Yeah.
good.
I saw someone say I saw someone say on Twitter, there's like a dark universe where the R on like the Ricochet entrance when before it came out Ricochet just expands to say Ryback.
Oh no, thank you. Um, but yeah, Ricochet comes out. Him and Hangman have like, and again, Hangman's face when he sees like it's Ricochet, like he's like, oh shit, this guy's
Yeah.
really good. I'm in danger.
Ricochet gets in and just does lots of flippy shit.
Yeah. He Ricochet looked great in this. He had like a nice little back and forth with Kyle O'Reilly. Did a bit with Mark Briscoe. And then went back
You know when a guy signs and you just like start thinking of all the matches you want to have, like Ricochet versus Buddy, Ricochet versus Pac, Ricochet versus Osprey, Ricochet versus any of Top Flight, you know, all of these Ricochet versus Commander, Ricochet versus Hologram, Ricochet versus Mortos. I want it all.
I think Ricochet to Cash will fuck.
Ricochet to Takeshita, yeah.
Yeah. It again, huge signing for AEW. And yeah, he looked great. They present them really well.
Yeah.
Next entrant was Christian Cage. He basically comes out like he's dead. And Ricochet was about to hit a shooting star onto Hangman, and instead basically like dives onto Christian and takes him out like immediately on his entrance, which in hindsight was a bad idea because as soon as he gets back in the ring, Hangman like obliterates him with a buckshot lariat, and
Yeah.
then that gets broken up by Petty Okada doing like he just literally just like shoves his head with his boot. It's so fucking funny.
There's a really interesting moment now towards the end of the match where Ricochet costs Nigel the match by spearing him.
Christian.
Yeah, Christian cost Nigel the match by spearing him, which is interesting because Nigel loves Christian on commentary.
They did mention that on commentary.
Yeah. So
Tony Schiavone.
That's just a nice little dynamic. And then we had the final entrance. Interestingly, is not Kill Switch, but Luchasaurus.
Yeah. So let's just say about that spear, because Nigel had the match won. Like he hit Kyle O'Reilly with it. Tower of London. He was lining up for basically to just behead Kyle O'Reilly with a lariat, and then Christian come in the ring and speared him. And Tony on commentary was saying that like, oh, Nigel loves Christian Cage. That's gonna be heartbreaking for him. So yeah, big old TNA vibes in this match. Though we had Jeff Jarrett, Christian Cage, Akato, Desmond Wolfe,
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah, but yeah, as you say, Luchasaurus comes out with his old Luchasaurus entrance music, like come out to Jurassic Express's entrance music. And he grabs Christian, and Christian looks terrified. Then he chokeslams Kyle O'Reilly and throws Christian on top of him. Christian wins.
Christian's like dead body.
Yeah. Yeah. This was, I thought this was brilliant, and I know a lot of people were upset about Christian winning. I thought it was really good because it was like just really shithousey.
I've got this theory about like why this match is this type of match is so much fun, and why the ending can sometimes feel a bit of a letdown. So when you've got like a battle royal and you've got like a load of guys starting off and it gets whittled down, so like you start off with like 10, 20 guys, whatever, and you end up with like 4, 3, 2, 1. You're sort of gradually decreasing the momentum of the match as it goes on because it's fewer people and fewer moving parts and less bodies. A match like this, as it goes, it builds and more people come in all the time. The number of participants never goes down; it only goes up. So it's almost like a rock rolling down a hill. It just gathers momentum constantly. So you're starting off with 2 guys, then you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. So why that's really good? It's really exciting because the match is just constantly getting bigger and better and more moving parts and more excitement and more bits. It means that you're starting the match at its most exciting point.
Yeah,
because you're not like running down the finish. You're like speeding up like full speed, and then you're just stopping. And so it's always going to feel. I think these matches are always going to feel a little bit jarring when they finish because of you're literally going from like to 10, 15 guys to the match is over.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think as well because obviously it's for a world title shot anytime. I think that's Christian's the perfect person to win it because of that.
Well, yeah, if you listen to his promos over the last month or so, he's been talking about getting back into the world title picture, like quite a bit. He's the perfect, like you say, he's the perfect guy to have it because he's just an absolute scumbag who's going to try and take advantage. And even better we'll talk about like the main event, obviously the main event. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It played into what happened earlier in the night. Christian, yeah, I know people were down on the winner, but he was supposed to win the one that Will Ospreay won a few months ago, but for some reason he couldn't be in it.
Oh, the one with was it the one that was at Daly's place?
Yeah,
that was the first one, wasn't it?
So Yeah, so it was nice for him to get the win here, which was great. I mean, Christian Cage is one of those guys who he's just ready to go, and you ever need a sort of
Yeah,
dickhead challenger for a title, he's your guy.
yeah, yeah. He's like the antagonist of AEW, isn't he? At this point, like he's the main antagonist almost.
Yeah,
Um,
right. So Dave gave this 4.5. I'm inclined to agree with him. I think this
yeah,
is
I think
excellent
so.
fun. Like, I don't know how well it came. You've seen it on TV more recently than I have, but in the stadium, it was just stupid fun. Like we were
That
screaming like the entire match all the way
it,
through on this one, weren't we?
yeah, I think this was the most fun we had the entire show for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was like as soon as the countdown clock comes on, you're getting excited, like, oh, who's gonna be, who's gonna be,
There
and
were there were be there were better matches, but this one was the most pure fun.
they set the precedent as well with like how excited you're gonna become with like Nigel being the third entrant,
Yeah.
because then it was like, oh my god, like think of the possibilities. Now obviously like we got like nice surprise with Zack Sabre Jr. We kind of expected Ricochet to be there because like the rumors have been swirling all like week that like Ricochet was going to be in the Casino Gauntlets, and it just made sense for him to debut there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good match. Yeah, 4.5, spot on.
Yeah, I think they got. I think they spaced all of the big surprises out quite well. So you had like Nigel, Zach, and Ricochet. I think they did a great job of just like stringing it out with. I think you had your reliable hands, then like your Roddy Strongs, your Kyle O'Reillys, your Orange Cassidy's, you know, your Jeff Jarrett, your Hangmans, and everything told the story really well. Perfect. I think it was really well done. Yeah. And if you didn't like the ending, then you're wrong. Right. Moving on then, we got Will Ospreay versus MJF.
This was very good.
So me and you were sat like the far end of our, we were like five people in a row. So I didn't see Sarah have an existential crisis during this match, but I'm sure it
I
happened.
mean, I was gonna say, I'm sure it happened. Yeah, Osprey's entrance was phenomenal. Probably the best entrance of the night.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
The only one I think was probably better, which was for more sentimental reasons, was Danielson's. But
Yeah, but for
mm,
sheer spectacle and like the pomp and like the big event feel. So obviously last year he had like a sort of slightly
can't
Assassin's
remember
Creed
his
themed
entrance at
entrance.
all.
This year they went all in with the costume. They had like a little voiceover from the
It
guy
was
who voiced Ezio.
Yeah, it was actually sponsored by Assassin's Creed Shadows as well. The
Yeah.
entrance.
As Will said in the press conference, he said it was perfect timing because the new Assassin's Creed game is based in Japan. Will Ospreay's got a lot of history in Japan and in his career, so it was a really good like sort of synergy. And it came together really well. Whatever they're paying those breakdancers was not enough because they were fucking brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. The way that was shot as well was awesome because like there was the main girl who was like doing most of it. And they start on her like at the bottom of the ramp, and then she runs up the ramp, does a bit of breakdance, and then she runs up again, does a bit more, and then she like does a little bit more, and then they started the Attio video, which is fucking awesome. It's so cool. Roger Craig Smith reprising Attio as someone who's like a big
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed fanboy. Um, yeah, and then basically like as they're doing this video, there's like just this bright white light shining down on the middle of the stage, and all the breakdancers are kind of like in a circle. And then it like as the light dims, you see like Osprey stood in there like decked out in full assassin regalia, which is fucking awesome. Um, and yeah, then elevated hits and everyone goes fucking mental.
yep, yep. It was phenomenal. And then MJF also had an entrance.
He did,
I
which
mean, I did
was
like he had so he'd modified his like video package. So he just said I'm better than Will, and the UK knows it,
yeah,
which was cool.
yeah. He came out dressed as Apollo Creed as well, which is cool. And he had like cheerleaders. He had all like American staples. Then he gets in the ring and he's got like sparks, and he had like all the streamers that got stuck in the fucking rigging for the rest of the night.
And the big flag.
And he had the flag which had like his face instead of the stars.
Yeah,
Um,
and his gear was like very Lex Luger.
yeah, it was. Taz made a comment about that on comments. Like he's wearing Lex Luger's gear over here. Yeah. But yeah, the match itself was phenomenal. Given what we got in the first one, and that was how hard an act to follow that was going to be. I think they more than over delivered, more than delivered with this match.
Yeah, it was
Um,
phenomenal. So they had loads
it,
of like really cool near falls. They made me bite on a few of them, which was excellent.
there was a lot of horrible bumps as well.
Yeah,
Osprey took a Panama Sunrise onto the apron, which was
yeah, that was grim.
deeply upsetting. Um, there was also that so again, this was one that was pretty good to watch on TV because of like MJF just being a piece of shit. So like he there's a bit where he goes for a moonsault and he basically says anyone could do a flip and better than him. And there's another bit where he goes for the heat seeker and he like puts his hand on his chest and says God bless America before he does
Yeah,
it. And yeah, so basically as well, the whole
Jake Hager's gone now, mate. Don't worry, it's fine.
he has. Um, there was a lot of times where MJF was avoiding the hidden blade at all costs. There was a bit where a poor cameraman that was played by Chuck Mambo um,
Yeah,
got murdered with a fucking hidden blade um,
off the apron as well.
off the apron, yeah. Um, and then yeah, MJF hit Osprey with a hidden blade himself at some one point, or went for it at least. And then pretty much the end of the match was pretty good, where MJF goes for a Tiger Driver, Osprey fights out of it. Um, Osprey then goes for one himself. MJF low blows him because the referee's out. Um, and then MJF's about to hit Osprey with some brass knuckles, and
Because his ring was stolen in London.
yeah, um, and a man all in black appears and stops him, and then unmasks to reveal himself to be Daniel Garcia returning from injury, which got quite a big pop as well. To be fair, I'm gutted Garcia didn't have a match on this card. Though. I was really excited
Yeah,
for seeing Daniel Garcia because I reckon he would have got a big
him
pop.
and MJF can get something cooking now, though, which is good.
Well, they've got a match it all out, haven't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. Off that distraction, Osprey annihilates MJF with a hidden blade, and then hit one of the most upsetting Tiger Drivers I've ever seen in my entire life.
it wasn't as bad as the one he gave Kenny.
It was up there though. It was a lot more on his neck than like some of the others have been.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, Osprey picks up the Bryce is still on the outside, like out, and they're like, get a ref. And he just like casually walks in and then like counts to three. And it's like, yeah, MJF's dead.
it was a long
Um,
ass cover, to be fair.
yeah. Um, and then Bryce goes to give Osprey the American title, and Osprey refuses it. And Christopher Daniels then comes out with the original international championship and gives it to Will Ospreay, who celebrates.
Yeah, who presumably then just goes straight to Nando's for a cheeky one.
Probably devoured the Nando's to celebrate.
But yeah, really good match. Dave gave it full 5 stars. I think that's bang on. I think this was legitimately one of the best matches I've seen this year.
Yeah, yeah, it was very good. It was
Can't,
very good. I would agree with you.
I can't complain about that. So coming out of that match in the death spot, we have unfortunately Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker. Because I feel really sorry for the crowd because fucked after that and Jeff Osprey match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This was fine.
I mean, I really enjoyed, like we talked about before we started recording. I really enjoyed Mercedes' entrance. She came out in like a gold carriage, like a queen. It was like a royal family themed. She had corgis, which apparently she had the corgis in her dressing room like all day to sort of like just chill out
That's cool.
because she's got corgis herself, so she like really likes them and stuff. She had loads of
Were they actual corgis?
no, they weren't, but they were related to the corgis that the royal belonged to the royal family apparently.
Oh, it was cute.
Yeah.
They were cute. It was a cute dog.
But especially there was like 4 of them, especially the one that stuck its head out the thing and smiled. That was like, get that dog a contract right now.
Yeah, I want that dog getting a graphic
Before RJC.
before RJ City. Yeah. Also, so Mercedes had like Royal Guard with it, and one was like riding the carriage, which was man like the Reese.
Yeah, he was just giving it beans on top.
Oh, it was so funny because I remember when we were watching it in the crowd, I was like, "Look at that guy going fucking mental!" And then when we saw the picture, like there was a picture that come out from Beyond Gorilla did, and I was just thinking, "Oh, that was absolutely the Reese in that position." And then when I watched it back today, it was in fact man like the Reese. It was going absolutely fucking wild for Mercedes' music, like kicking in.
Yeah, so anyway,
Um,
match was, like you say, it was fine. I think that they didn't. I think Britt's still not quite back to 100%. She's still got a bit
I
of.
mean, Britt was doing a bit of fucking sandbagging, wasn't she?
I mean, I'm not going to say it, but
But she was. There was three spots where it was like Britt was blatantly sandbagging Mercedes. You were like, "Fucking hell, what you
I don't
doing
know
here?"
whether it was just timing issues or whether it was like Britt wasn't quite up to speed
They,
because Mercedes just wrestled a great match last night in New Japan. So
they didn't have any. They didn't feel like they had any chemistry. To be fair,
no, which
um,
is a shame.
it
Because
was a
yeah,
shame.
this could have been like a really special match if it just everything. And I think Mercedes she put a post out, didn't she, in a newsletter and said like she tried some things that didn't quite work, and if, in hindsight, if she could go back and do it again, she'd play it a bit safer maybe, and like maybe just go back to basics a bit more, which might be a very underhanded way of saying Britt Baker's not that good a wrestler.
Um, yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying that because I can't wrestle for shit. So
yeah. There was a very cool spot where Mercedes did like a body slam off the top rope, and then like she went to do it later in the match, and Britt reversed it into like sort of a Spanish fly.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot of the moves they were going for, as I say, didn't really click. They didn't really feel like they had a great deal of chemistry with one another. Which, as you say, it is a shame because if I think if this had been a better match, like that's AEW got like kind of another feud that they can keep going back to.
You see,
And
on paper, this was a real mouth-watering match. This was like the passing of the
I
torch from Britt to Mercedes as like the face of the division, and like,
well, I literally said to you and Troy when we did the predictions, like this is literally like the dream match for Mercedes when she got announced.
yeah,
Like when they said she'd signed for AEW, that it was like, well, Britt Baker's the obvious dream match for her right there because that's like the person who's like built the division from the ground up. And it is a shame that they didn't have any chemistry. There was I'm just thinking what else there was. There was that cool spot where Britt took the belt off Camille and did like the Eddie Guerrero spot to get Camille
yeah.
ejected. Um, and yeah,
Which
then
kind of makes no sense because if Camille had hit Britt with a belt, then surely that's a DQ.
I think it's because the ref hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I
Um,
I I don't quite know the sort of hard rules on that, but hey, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. But yeah,
not gonna, not gonna get into the nitty of refereeing.
yeah, but hey, yeah, it was like you say, it was a fine match. It was just unfortunate that it was probably the weakest match on the card anyway, and it got put in the fucking death spot after Jeff Ospreay, which like took all the energy out of the crowd because we went nuts for it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Mercedes won with the moneymaker to retain.
Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting because she said she was going to make Britt tap out, and then she didn't.
yeah, but she's a heel. She can lie about that shit.
But yeah, so Dave gave this 2.5, which I think might be a little low. I think you could maybe go to 3 on that.
Let's go to three on it. It was definitely the worst match on the show, but I wouldn't say it was a bad match. It was just fine.
Yeah, I think it just suffered from like being in and around two like which we'll talk about in a sec, two 5-star plus matches.
Mm,
But yeah,
yeah.
next up then we had the coffin match, Jack Perry versus Darby Allin.
This
Um, this was fun. It
mhm.
got cut for time because the show was going long and they had a 10 p.m. curfew they had to get through. Which I think some people said it hurt the match. I think it maybe kind of helped it a bit because it just got it down to business. It was just like there's no time
I
for fucking around.
Yeah, I thought it was great because it was like it was literally because with a derby match especially you expect them to kind of like like he's been fired out of a cannon from the start, which is literally what happened. Scapegoat made his entrance as soon as he gets to like the ring. Darby like instantly dives on him and then starts hitting him with a chair. Also, Darby had thumbtacks stuck to his face, which was
Yeah,
wild.
glued to his face, which was
Um,
insanity.
and he only used it once where he like he headbutted Jack Perry. Um, but then there was a bit where Jack like punched him and then like was like, ah man. Um, yeah, so there was a lot of very upsetting spots in this match. Uh,
Including the deployment of real glass.
well, yeah, before that we did have that bit where Darby had like Jack like against the coffin that was upright, and he like did a dive against Jack, and
Yeah,
Jack moved out the way, and Darby just bounced off the fucking coffin. It was horrifying. Um, yeah, Jack Perry got a. It also his bag with real glass in was like a scapegoat branded bag, which made me laugh.
yeah.
It's like he makes everything spooky and has scapegoat written on it. Yeah, he gets real glass, and then gets like a massive "Cry Me a River" chant, and there's a little bit of a fuck CM Punk chant as well. Um, yeah, Darby throws Jack Perry into the glass, and then he does a dive with his skateboard onto Jack, who lands in the glass. Um, and then this is where things started getting really uncomfortable, where Jack like tapes Darby's hands together, throws him into the barricade. Darby sort of fights him off a bit, and then end up they end up like fighting on the stage. Jack Perry hit like one of the most upsetting power bombs I've ever seen in my life on Darby. Um, and then took Darby's belt off, whipped him with it a few times, and then tied his ankles together. And one thing that we couldn't see from where we were, but yeah, like they show it like really great on the on like the actual film version of this, is then Jack like makes it look like he's got his hands and feet tied together and starts hopping around going, "Oh no!" being such a shit.
Amazing.
Yeah, he then throws Darby off the stage, which was about 15 feet up,
It
through
was
a
a
load of
high ass ramp
tables.
on it.
Yeah, I think Excalibur said it was about 15 feet.
Which
And
in wrestling terms is about 25 feet.
yeah, um, and then yeah, then he puts Darby in a body bag, puts him in a casket. It was a really cool shot where Darby's uh, Darby's head like sticks out of the body bag, and he's like he sits up like a fucking zombie. Um, and then Jack hits him with the glass jaw knee strike and shuts the coffin to win. Um,
Yeah. Darby's first ever loss in a coffin
yeah,
match.
it was 4-0 until that match. After the match, the Young Bucks come down and Jack Perry's posing on top of the fucking coffin like a scumbag. Um, and they basically pour gasoline on like in the casket and then on the casket.
Yeah, and they
And
like open it up and like just fucking fill it with petrol,
yeah,
which is.
I know also when you see the actual footage of it, like
Do you reckon like Nick and Matt have
it,
to go to like the fucking Shell garage down the road to get that?
probably, but it is actual petrol, like it's like from the color you can tell.
Yeah, well,
Also,
or they've made it look like real petrol.
or it could be apple juice, yeah, I suppose. Also, madly, um, Nicholas Jackson shaved his mustache off between the time of having his match and this match.
Yeah, what commitment to the bit?
What a commitment to the bit, indeed. Um, yeah, so lights go out and Sting comes out to seek and
Yeah,
destroy.
it's now a Wembley tradition, isn't it? The Stings out to seek and destroy. It's like, yeah, perfect.
If this is so they did a really good job of like illustrating this on commentary, saying even though Sting retired, he said he'd always like kind of like keep an eye um on AEW to see if he's needed to show up like he's Batman or something like that.
Yeah,
Um and yeah, Sting chases them off. He hits a double Scorpion Death Drop on the Young Bucks and then saves Darby. Um
presumably takes him from McDonald's after the show.
yeah, probably. Uh
Probably is. It's probably he abandons his other sons who are in London for Derby.
I like the idea that it was just like a boredom family holiday, and that to London, and then like Sting's like Darby needs me. I need
Yeah,
to go help the
one of his
club.
sons, like, I've got a really nice restaurant booking for like Sunday night, and he's like, no, I can't. No, just there in the toilet or the bathroom, putting his fucking face paint on in the restaurant. Dad, why
Um,
have you brought the bat with you? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it.
well, there's a funny bit with that where he leaves his bat in the ring, and like he just walks back over and picks it up, but
Yeah.
makes it look like he's chasing off the Young Bucks. Um, yeah. What did Uncle Dave give this one?
Daddy Dave says 2 3/4 stars,
I'd say
which
that's kind of low.
I'd go maybe 3 1/4 for this. I'd go slightly higher than the Mercedes match.
I was
But
gonna say I'd go 3.5. I really
yeah.
enjoyed it. It was just
Uh,
chaotic fun.
and then it's time for the main event, the final countdown.
Oh boy. Yeah.
You ready to do a big cry?
I did one when I was watching the match back. Um, yeah. This was
There's just something
oh,
about Brian Danielson coming
um,
out, the final countdown playing, and just watching like the emotion on his like little face.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, his entrance gear was fucking awesome because it was kind of like a combination of like his AEW ring jacket with the scales and his Ring of Honor robe
Yeah.
that he used to have. Yeah, this was great.
Then Swerve's entrance was also dope. So you had like Prince Nana come out, you had DJ Wu Kid, you had Flash Garments.
I don't know who any of those people are,
I am far too old and
except
white
for Prince Nana.
to know who
You know,
most of these people are. But yeah, but it was great. They did like Big Pressure live, which was good. We did it last
which
year,
has
but it was
been they've remixed it again, haven't
yeah. I think they remix like every 3 weeks, but it's always good when they do it.
they? Yeah,
Prince Nana put Jimmy Rave's Embassy robe on Swerve again, which was dope.
yeah. Swerve's jacket was cool as well. So he
Mm,
had on the front it said Swerve the eighth champion because he was the eighth world champion. Um, and then on the back he had uh, everyone he's beaten while he's been champion with the heads on pikes with Brian Danielson in the middle.
yeah.
Um, interestingly, obviously Hangman was there as well, which sure will have no ramifications.
But
Um,
it was funny because like obviously Danielson came out and he did the big sing along to the Final Countdown, which was cool. And then like Swerve came out and then they did the big Swerve's house thing, which was also like, and it was obviously the crowd I think were mostly firmly behind Danielson, but they also like really liked Swerve as well.
yeah, yeah,
And they cut to Brian Danielson's family, so Brie, Buddy, Birdie in the crowd, which is not going to have any ramifications later in the match.
no, of course not. Yeah, even on the announcements as well, like they said like when they did like Brian Danielson's announcement, they said what was it? He's been captivating wrestling fans for 25 years, accompanied by his family, Buddy, Birdie, and Brie.
Mm.
Um, Brian Danielson. And it was just like, oh no, swear.
I mean, what got me as well was like that before Brian came out, there was that little promo, like video, the packs they showed like him like meditating, and then it
Mm,
like sort of zoomed in on his face and it flashed back to like clips of his
this
entire
entire
career,
yeah,
which
with
was
the exception of anything in WWE because they
yeah.
don't. Um,
But they showed. Like, I think I've seen more of that Nigel McGuinness match on clips from Brian Danielson's video packages of the last 2 weeks than I've seen in the last like 15 years.
yeah. Um, yeah, and then the match itself started, and dear God, this was good. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it was like literally 26 minutes of just wrestling perfection. I'm not going to go into every punch or move because we'll be here all fucking night, but my God, it was exceptional. It
yeah,
was,
so there was a lot of back and forth. There was can't remember exactly how. Oh, Swerve goes for a Death Valley driver on the apron, and like he accidentally hits the ref with Brian's foot. So while the ref's kind of like sort of dazed and staggered, he puts the ring bell on the apron.
no, see,
Uh,
so what happens is Nana comes over with the ring bell to like just pause the match while the ref's down. He puts it on the thing, and then Swerve slips, and Brian Danielson just falls
yeah.
on the ring bell, and it's you know.
And literally, when I was watching it back, um, as soon as Danielson's like, before he's even hit the floor, he's reaching to his wrist to get his fucking blade out.
Brian Danielson couldn't wait to gig in front of his kids.
He was desperate to bleed in front of his kids. Um, yeah. Um, so yeah,
Surprised he didn't get Buddy to do it for him.
he got him to clean it off after, didn't he?
Cut Daddy's forehead.
There was a bit after the match where like while he's getting cleaned up by the doctor and Buddy was there with like
Yeah,
a
like
little
mopping his face
a
with the
little
towel.
a little baby wipe just like wiping his face. Like, thank you, buddy. Um yeah, so Danielson's bust open and then it's pretty much just all Swerve. Swerve goes for to do the Danielson stomps and he stops, looks over at the family, and then he drags he keeps saying as well before this, why you making me like hate you like this in front of your family, Brian?
Yeah.
Why are you making your family watch this? Why are you putting them through this? Just you should have just walked away. Um so yeah, Swerve does the Danielson stomps in front, like he drags him out of the ring and does it in front of in front of Brie, Buddy and Birdie. And then he like screams at Birdie that he's gonna hurt her dad more, and she starts crying. Um,
She played her role perfectly. It was great.
she's like the cutest little girl, and she got fucking angry Swerve screaming at her. She's that Brian Danielson's a sick man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then Swerve like rubs Danielson's blood across his hand and then licks it. Um,
Remember when we
and
said the Swerve was going to drink Danielson's blood in front of his kids, and we were all going to cheer, and we did.
he did. Um, and yeah, then he hits a avalanche angle slam, goes for a Swerve stomp. Danielson reverses into a regal stretch, which was fucking smooth as silk. Um, I thought it could have been it there. I was getting excited, like, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, and then every time Danielson sort of had an answer for Swerve, excuse me, it every time he thought he had an answer for Swerve, like Swerve would just come back like fucking Michael Myers or something and just start like
Yeah. And that went both ways. I think the story they were telling here was like both guys were like not just refusing to give in, where they like there was that moment where I think it was after the JML driver when Danielson does like the 2.99 kick out.
Yeah.
And Swerve just like crawls back into the corner like horrified. And he's like, I'm gonna have to kill this man in front of his family.
Well, literally, so the there was a bit before that as well, where Swerve's doing like the like sort of kicks like Danielson does on the chest, and Danielson starts like no selling them, and as he's doing it, he's looking over at his family saying, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and then
Yeah.
he just goes, "Fuck you" to Swerve and just slaps the piss out of him. Um, and then he kicks Swerve's fucking head in, which was beautiful. Locks in the cattle mutilation, and Swerve gets out and reverses it into a fucking cop killer, which was a very cool Easter egg because Homicide
Yeah.
was the guy that beat Brian Danielson for the ROH title,
Yeah.
and that's Homicide's finisher. Um, it was not lost on me. Also, Swerve might need something that can kill cops in his arsenal for um, uh, yeah, and then this is where the match like really. So the medical team comes in and Danielson's like getting checked on. Swerve chases them all off. Hits a Swerve stomp and Danielson kicks out. Um, and then Swerve hits two horrific looking um house calls as Danielson's like crawling over to his family.
Yeah.
Um, and then he hits a third and Danielson barely kicks out. And at this point, like the crowd were like fucking feral for Danielson, weren't they?
Yeah.
And yeah, Danielson Danielson goes for a Busaiku knee and Swerve just like brushes it off and Danielson looks shocked.
Was that the one where he like backs up to the corner and then just like walks back out again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that
does
was
it.
really that was
He,
really well done.
he,
That.
he literally just it doesn't even phase him. Um, and then Swerve immediately responds with a house call. Swerve gets Danielson up for the JML driver, as we said, and he's staring at the Danielson family, and like he's laughing at them, and then his face just changes, and then he just drills Danielson. And as you said, Danielson kicked out like 2.99. Fuck me, it was close. Swerve starts doing the yes chants, and then that fucking cop Hangman Page shows up and looking like he's been like out in the woods drinking for like the last month. He attacks Nana and he tries to get in the ring. Security swarm him and take him away, and Swerve's basically just shouting at him. And from the distraction, Danielson finally hits a Busaiku knee, and then hits another Busaiku knee, and then another, and then he goes for the label lock. Swerve starts like trying to break out of it. Danielson snaps his fingers, and then interestingly locks in a kind of modified brutalizer.
Yeah.
Back finish.
So he sort of got him in like the like a crossface, and then he traps the other arm, doesn't he? So he's got like both Swerve's arms like up around his back.
Yeah, but like it is literally like the Pax finisher, isn't it? The brutalizer. Swerve eventually taps out, and we got a new world champion.
Yeah, what a fuck it! I was physically, emotionally, mentally just fucked after this match.
Yeah, it was incredible. Again, one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life, and
again,
I was very
final countdown plays. Bryan Danielson climbs up on the ropes. He's celebrating. His family come in to the ring. BCC come out. Even Pac smiling.
I love that because like when they're showing it on the camera, you see like Claudio and Yuta helping the kids and Brian like into the like out the back like from behind the barrier, and you just see Pac sort of like there in the ring, just stood there. I hope that becomes a meme of just Pac just being there looking unhappy.
And then like Brian's trying to get his son to like run through him and he won't, and Pac's just like giggling.
Yeah. There's a few times where Pac's just like laughing away at Buddy. And then Danielson teases that he's got a pile driver, Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just awesome. It was such
there's a really cool bit, like as his music's playing, and like you see Brian just turns to the fans and like it's getting towards the chorus and he just points to like the he points to the turnbuckle like one more time. And he gets back up on the thermal, holds the title up. Everyone sings "Final Countdown." Oh, it's fantastic. I said to you, Jay. I said, look, I know this is like the obvious booking, and I know we all like so. And Swerve had a fantastic title reign, and he'll be back. He's just signed a fucking huge contract. Like, they're fucking huge on him. He's going to be a top. He's a made man now. He's going to be a top guy forever. But if you have a moment, an opportunity to fucking have your biggest match show of the year end with Bryan Danielson winning the title, the Final Countdown plays, confetti fucking raining down over him, and you don't take it, there's something fucking wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all right, they did the right thing. Like,
mm-hmm.
I think all the booking decisions on the show they got right, but I think this was the big one, and I think they fucking nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like when you look at obviously Danielson's other biggest moment in his career being like the WrestleMania 31 where he won the belt, like I think AEW wanted something like that for Danielson anyway.
Yeah.
So it made him, and he said it himself after, hasn't he? Like it's like his favorite moment in his career.
Yeah, and he said Tony had to talk him into it as well.
Yeah, of course he fucking did. Danielson fucking winning belts. He fucking hates it. But yeah, I think it makes sense as well because obviously, like from like a sort of like history and legacy standpoint, Tony Khan wants to be able to turn around and say, well, I have like this belt so prestigious because guys like Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega have held it.
Yeah. We said on the previous show, I mean, like to have the chance to associate Bryan Danielson with the lineage of that title is an opportunity you can't pass up, especially if he's near the end of his career. And now it's just fucking let's full send. It's all go now, all go no show. Danielson's just flat out now till he's gone. So basically every match now is career versus title because he said once he loses it, that's it, he's done.
Well, he said he's done as a full-time wrestler.
Yeah.
He's also said he's never going to be done. He'll be wrestling until he's 70, the lunatic.
So star rating for this one off Dave was 5.25.
Not high enough.
You go higher.
I mean, because respect the rules of a 5-star rating system, I would go 5 stars because I'm not Dave Meltzer. But yeah, if I was doing it by Meltzer's rules, I would have probably gone close to 6.
I think a 5.5 would be fine here. I think that'd.
But yeah, five for me. It was for me. It was match of the night. It was outstanding.
Man, these end of year awards are going to be fucking difficult, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell, like Brian Danielson's had so many good matches this year,
Yeah.
and so's Will Ospreay. And yeah, I
What
think
if they wrestled each other?
well, yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? But
Uh,
yeah,
what are you going to
very.
give the show out of, what would you give the show out of 10 as a whole?
Um, Give it 9.
I think I think nine's fair. I think I'll go 9.
Yeah.
I mean, the highs were fucking super high,
But
and
that,
the lows were just sort of middling, weren't they? Which was great.
yeah, like the only sort of like downsides to it was obviously um Britt Mercedes should have been better. Um and I'm trying to think what else. What was the other one? Jericho Hook was there.
That was
Um
fine though for what it was. It did the job.
yeah.
Nothing made me not want to be there, which I think is quite
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, well it was like when we were actually in the stadium and we were kind of like don't want to need to go to the toilet during the main event. I don't want to need to go get a drink during the main event. It's eventually gonna get to a point where I'm gonna have to sacrifice something,
Yeah.
um, and just take the hit. So yeah, obviously we did for that. Well, thankfully the match that we did it through was Mercedes and Britt, which wasn't the best match.
Can we just shout out as well,
Um,
by the way, the seats we had at Wembley were A, the view was really good, and B, somehow we managed to get like the executive seats,
yeah, it
which
was
were fucking sick.
so where we were this year was where the entrance was last year.
Yeah.
Um, I thought they were really good seats. I was really pleased with them.
But they were like
Hope
our seats were like padded and they had like cup holders, which were like really cool.
uh, are we going to try and get those seats again for 2026?
Oh yeah, I know which block. I'm not telling people on here what block it is, but I know what block it was. So
I I remember where it was because of the fucking ordeal we had getting to it.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, um, yeah, I had a really good time. I really enjoyed it. And
yeah, that was all in. Roll on 2026 when presumably the world might have ended by then. I don't even know. But Forbidden Door next year, that's something we can look forward to.
AEW will be a dead company, mate.
Yeah, I mean it's they shouldn't really be booking shows 2 years in advance when they're on like 3 weeks away from closing.
Yeah, that's what the internet keeps telling me. Um, but yeah, thank you for joining us as we retold our experience of All In because it was very fun to be there in person. I look forward to it. I am still trying to drag my Two Nations Under Ted co-host Tom Clark to the next one.
Oh,
So we
Tom was with Forbidden Door. He'd be over for that.
Tom every year, like last year after All In, I was like, "Come on, Tom, come next year." He was like, "Ah, I might do," and I got close to the time. I was like, "Oh, it'll be a good holiday to have with the family." Like, come on, Tom, come on. And he talked himself out of it. So I think if I put it on the podcast, at least other people other than myself can hold him accountable for not for to actually come. and,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Tom will have a word with me when he hears this.
Do it,
Also,
Tom.
go.
Come on, mate. Do it. We'll take you for pints of Guinness. It'll be good.
He doesn't drink.
Well, you can watch us drink pints of Guinness, which is that's
You can
what we
get a
do now.
Guinness, you can get a Guinness Zero.
Guinness Zero,
Uh,
mate. It's apparently it's just as good as the real thing. Yeah.
yeah. No, we were talking about going to Richmond to all the Ted Lasso sites.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, because also speaking of Two Nations on the TED, while I am mentioning it, um, this what is season 3? Yeah, season 3 is out today at time of recording, which is the 31st of August. We're in the home stretch. It'd be a real shame if they announced the season 4 of Ted Lasso now. Um, but yeah, on that note, thanks for listening, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you later. Bye.
Bye.